Welcome in, my friends. Welcome in. We are getting ready for another phenomenal transformational conversation of the Global Leaders Roundtable. This is the Fireside Chat series. And listen, we are allowing voices to rise. We are bringing leaders together, converging on great ideas, kingdom principle based ideas and kingdom movements are being born as a result. I'm your host, Kenyon R. Dudley, keynote speaker, global leadership strategist, and founder of this great, growing, and global platform committed to amplifying purpose-filled voices from around the world. Listen, for those of you who are just now getting to know me, maybe you don't know what my passion is. So I'll tell you a little bit about my passion. It is all about helping kingdom leaders tap into their divine identity, helping them build with authenticity and boldly step into their next season. This platform is for the visionary, it's for the reformer, it's for the pioneer, because I truly believe that breakthrough requires bold conversations. And if we're ever going to break through to greater destinies and greater realms of understanding, wisdom, knowledge, and effectiveness, then we've got to do it through brilliant conversations. And that's exactly what we're doing right here at the Global Leaders Roundtable. Hey guys, if you are watching on YouTube, thank you. Welcome to the family. Hit the like button if you can. Tag a purpose-driven leader over in the comment section. Let them know what you're eating on and digesting right now. This is good content. And also make sure that you subscribe to our channel at TGLR Network. You do not want to miss a moment of content that we're going to be releasing and sharing out there to the world. Now, just a few announcements before we jump into this riveting conversation. I'm super excited about my new guest that's going to be coming today. She is brilliant. I can already tell. This is my first time meeting her today, but I'm super excited to hear all of the wisdom that she's going to share. But before we jump into that, listen, if you have a story to tell, you are a leader, a kingdom leader, and you have a journey, and you feel like that story, that journey should be spoken about or shared, or maybe you have a strategy that God gave you that you want to share with the world, you can do that. Bring it to the virtual roundtable here at Global Leaders Roundtable. What you can do is go ahead and apply. Go to bit.ly/TGLR podcast. We are currently taking applications for those individuals who want to be on the show. Who knows? You may be next. We have also got something that I'm super excited about right now. We have a virtual summit that is coming up September 20th through the 21st. It is the Global Leaders Virtual Summit. And go figure, our topic is on global kingdom leadership. We're going to be talking to over 60 kingdom leaders and speakers from around the world. And I don't say that lightly, guys. God has blessed us. We literally have people from South Africa, from London. We literally have people from Pakistan and India. We've also got individuals from Canada and all over the US that are coming to speak and to share who they are and the thing that God is giving them to do. And if you want to be a speaker, you can apply today by going to bit.ly/TGLR Virtual Summit now. We want you to be a part of that riveting lineup of speakers. And lastly, if you are looking for more platforms to speak on, many people say that my group is the new budding trending group. I don't know what that really means, but all I know is I authentically want to connect speakers with event hosts and event hosts with speakers. And that we are doing, my friend, in need a speaker over there on Facebook. Why don't you go ahead and join the free group? That's right. It is free. Okay. Because I know what it means and I know what it feels like to try to connect with the right people, right? To get your message on the stage. You can do that through my group, go to bit.ly/need a speaker. And we've got event planners, hosts, we've got organizers, as well as talented speakers all over there converging. And it is a small group right now, but something tells me God's going to blow this thing up. So you want to be a part of the founding members of that group. All right, guys, I'm super excited about this conversation that we are about to have. I mean, I got a chance to speak with her briefly, and the way things were just coming out of her mouth, it tells me a couple of things about her. She is experienced. It tells me that she is authentic. It tells me that she is powerful in her own right. Today's guest is a true force in Kingdom Marketplace, a bold woman of God who empowers others to steward both wealth and wisdom with divine clarity. Dr. Chonta Haynes is a speaker. She is a coach. She is a visionary leader, helping people rise from brokenness to breakthrough, spiritually, financially, and emotionally. She teaches kingdom leaders how to properly manage their money, how to magnify their message and adjust their crown so they can walk boldly in divine success without apology. Friends, you got to help me welcome to the virtual roundtable the powerful Dr. Chonta Haynes. Dr. Chonta, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much, Kenyon, for this opportunity. I look forward to our conversation. And we're gonna empower and inspire some people. So you talk about destiny, I'm the destiny designer. So let's go.
Yes. Thank you so much for saying yes. Thank you so much for being a part of this movement. I tell people that this is not just a podcast, this is a movement that God has me building. And I'm super serious about who we bring to the platform and the fact that we have your abilities, your wisdom, your mind here. I don't take it lightly. Thank you for taking some time out to talk with me. Now, today, we're going to be talking about something that I think every leader should know. Every leader should be talking about in this time is kingdom wealth. We're going to be talking about vision stewardship. And we're going to be talking about adjusting your crown. I like how that's said for divine success. Dr. Chonta, before we move any further into the discussion, why don't you officially introduce yourself to our viewers? What part of the world are you in? What is God having you work on right now?
Well, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. And I'm glad to be able to be introduced to so many new people. I say my story starts, or the last part currently. I say that I was in midair, no
Mm,
airplane, no seatbelt, and definitely no armrest. It was some serious turbulence. Going
wow.
through a divorce, a great divorce at that, empty nest, and then transitioning as you move into being a female entrepreneur, or I call them queenpreneurs. In doing that, I mean, when I say the turbulence was real, it was real. And looking at my situation, I sat in God's waiting room. And I know you probably been there, and many of your listeners have been
Yes.
there too, where you're just trying to figure out what's going on. What do I need to do differently? And in the midst of that, despite my 6 degrees, despite my years of experience, as well as a heart full of purpose, I found myself really disappointed by these so-called experts that were,
Mm,
it was, an overwhelming sense of options that were available to me, but I was underwhelmed by my income. So in sitting in God's waiting room, and when I say that, I can feel still being back there. I remember asking him the question, well, hey, Lord, why do I not see what I'm seeing others do, that I'm helping others to do? Why am I not seeing that personally in my life? And in the midst of that, I'm credentialed but confused. I'm
wow.
called but perplexed. I'm praying for clarity, and I'm seeing all these different pieces, trying to put the puzzle pieces together that didn't quite fit. And I had this frustration, but he gave me revelation. And what he said to me is, you don't realize the weight that you carry. You think everybody can do what you do. And too many times, everybody else that is listening right now, we think, because it comes natural to us, it's our skill set, it's our talents, it's the gifts that we've been given, that everybody can do it. Now I was looking for a room, and he said, you didn't find the room because I've called you to build it.
Wow.
So I did. And that's kind of where my story starts in this new transition of saying, hey, I've developed this Queenpreneur Accelerator program, all of those things. And I've seen major successes, and I'm sure we'll talk about some of those. But
Yes.
I believe that every thriving entrepreneur has that one moment where everything just changes, where you walk into a room, you got high level thinkers, you finally find your clarity, and you take action to go to that next level. And that's why I say I'm the destiny designer, because my goal is to encourage, inspire, and motivate you, not just to say, hey, you got inspired action, but no, I facilitate transformation. You become who you were supposed to. We jump into what purpose was supposed to be for you. We want to quote Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans that I have for you. They're plans for good, not for evil, to give you a hope and an expected end. But do we really embody that? Do we really believe that? So when I say I'm the destiny designer, yep, I cultivate destiny and I steward unstoppable success. And that's what we're
Wow.
going to have today.
I love this. I told y'all this was going to be a treat. This was going to be absolutely amazing. And it's everything I expected. Okay, well, let's talk, Dr. Haynes, a little bit about financial stewardship, because in talking about destiny and ensuring that you steward properly the gift and the call that God has given you, there must be financial stewardship, right? To that. How did you get to a place where you began to um, financially steward properly and implement good money management and all of that to get to the things of destiny? And how are you teaching that to those who are your clients?
Well, I will say this. I did not start off with a silver spoon in my mouth. And some people will say they never had the spoon. Okay. Both my parents were teachers. Right. And so that there was a struggle. But I also had a brother that was 2 years behind me.
Okay.
And I knew then that if I did the traditional route of going to college 4 years and then he would come along, it would be 2 years that we would both be in college together. Now,
Okay.
my dad was a math teacher. My mom was English. So all my books are edited by my mom, or have been until she passed away this year, last year. But my dad was a mathematician. And so the math side of me said, wait a minute, college tuition goes up every single year. If I then get out early, I then effectively save that increase. But I also save them the stress and the struggle of having us in college at the same time. So
Yes.
I started off, my original degree is in electrical engineering with a minor in computer engineering from Georgia Institute of Technology. So
Okay.
my right brain works. Okay. I am the logical thinker. I'm going to be the strategist. And that's where that financial strategy started. Right. But then I also moved into, I've got a master's also in electrical engineering from University of Miami, and I am in Florida. I didn't tell you that.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I also have a bachelor's, master's, and a PhD in theology. So that's
Okay.
where that faith comes in. I was teaching biblical finance for 20 plus years. I could probably say 25 now.
Okay.
But my students would get the theology and theory, they would pass the test, but their finances were still jacked up. And
Mm.
I said, wait a minute, something's wrong here. What can I do? And, God put me in this area because finances is a taboo subject in the Christian
Oh
population.
yes. Oh yes.
I didn't know that. When you don't ask the right questions of him, you get way over here. He's like, I can use you. I can use you because you're not going to ask and you're
That's right.
just going to do. If you're
Yeah.
going to be obedient, that's how I started. So what I ended up doing is during the breaks for classes, I started developing, hey, let me give you glossary of terms. Let me give you some prayers that we're going to play to make sure that your finances are getting together. So it was the basic, the do it yourself. How can you then make your finances work for you? We're following the biblical principles, but you need some practical application. I say, I'm going to help you put feet to your faith so that you can walk victoriously. We say faith without works is dead,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I started there, and that's the first book that I did on finance,
Mhm.
financial wisdom for financial freedom. All right. Did that to do it yourself. But then God showed me everybody will not take what you're giving and be able to do it on their own. I
Right.
also recognize that in me teaching biblical finance, the books that we were using in the class were more ancillary. They were supplemental, if you would. They didn't go along with the teaching. So I ended up writing the textbook for biblical finance. And that was not just paper. I found out then, though, that most Christian universities and seminaries don't teach biblical finance. Amazing. We
Nope.
got leaders who are not leading appropriately. They don't know what they're doing with their finances. But in the church, we teach you to give, but we don't teach you to steward. And I said,
Right.
well, something is still wrong. I said, okay. So he showed me, hey, bite-sized pieces. They can't do all of the things. They're not, might not go to seminary. They might not go to a Christian university, but bite-sized. So I then did a devotional planner that gives you one thing that you're going to work on that week or that day to do that. But here's the one that I really want to share that is completely mind-blowing, completely different, direct download from heaven that you're not going to see anywhere else. And I shared that with you just as we were talking before. That's part of my divine, it's called Destined to Prosper book. It is dealing with biblical financial personalities.
Mm.
So, and I tell you, God doesn't waste anything.
Yes.
He takes what you have been doing all along. And so the logical side of my brain, the engineering side comes in because there's 4 personalities. And I'll just tell you very quickly what they are. But, you know, your audience can go to my website. I got some free resources out there just to find out some more.
Okay.
But they're 4 personalities and they're acronyms. STEAM, spend thinking emotionally about memories. This is the person that likes to give gifts. Oh, they're just giving gifts all day long, but their budget cannot support it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I give one tip to remove the struggle from money management for all 4 areas. But
Mm.
that STEAM personality is a spender, but they love giving gifts. And sometimes they can think they're people pleasing. You're like your Father in heaven because God is a giver. Yes. And
Yeah.
so that part is great, but you have to balance emotion with logic. All right. So I say when you're doing your budget for them, you're going to have to make sure you have a budget that identifies the gift giving. And when you have that boundary, you don't go outside of that. All right. But it's within your budget because it goes
Right.
along with your personality. The second one is water personality.
Mm.
Why attend to every report? This is the person that's your ride or die. They're going to have the adventure. They're going to have the fun. You say, let's go on this trip. They're going.
Right.
They're not checking the bank account. They'll deal with that later. FOMO is a real thing for them. Okay. They're
Right.
just like, no, I'm out. Let's go. And as long as I can swipe my card, I'm good. Or back in the day for me, if we have a check in the checkbook, oh, I can still write it. Doesn't mean it's not gonna bounce. That kind of thing.
Right.
The point for them is you have to have an accountability partner. And it's not going to be another water personality or another steam personality because you're still going to spend, right?
Right.
You have to jump to the other side of the house, and that's the savers. So the 2 on the saver side is the ice personality. I can't entertain like a mosquito. They've got the budget. Oh, they are strictly sticking to that budget. They're not, hey, you're going to get hands on hips, neck
Mm-hmm.
rolling. No, I'm not going to let you borrow that. That's not going to work because it doesn't work in my budget, right?
Right.
That's the ice queen, okay? Kings too, all right? But in that, yeah, God says count the cost before you start something. So all of them have some of God's personality in it's great. And I want your audience to recognize that every personality has a positive side to it. But when you look at the other side, you say, well, wait a minute, how can I make this work for me, not
Mm-hmm.
against me? So with my ice personality, I say you have to find something that you do for yourself. You pay God first, but you pay yourself second
Okay.
before you start paying your bills. That way you say, all right, I won't be regretting. I won't be resentful of other people who are enjoying life because I'm like looking to the future, but I'm not taking care of self.
Right.
All right. So I say for them, put in your budget one line item where you're doing something for you. So that way you're experiencing, hey, I've worked hard for this. I'm getting something out of it. I don't care if it's a $5 movie, $6 smoothie, something that you're doing for you. And
Right.
then you won't be so mean to everybody else along the way. But the last one, then there's only 4. The last one is the fire personality. This is where everybody wants to be. financially independent, retiring early.
Mm,
Right? We want to do that. This person is not just giving you a fish, but they're teaching you how to fish. You're not just getting that fish sandwich. They know how to invest in themselves. They know how to make sure they're planning for the future, but they have enough to then bless other people and reinvest in them. And I
mm-hmm.
say, it's not time to stop. It's time to teach somebody else what to do. It's also time to diversify your portfolio to make sure that you have enough for your retirement and then some, that you're also leaving a legacy for your generations to come. Because the
Right,
Bible says a good man or a good woman leaves an inheritance for their children's children.
right.
What are you leaving? Don't leave them the bills, leave them something that they can start with. So that when I say I didn't have that silver spoon in my mouth, I'm leaving the spoon for my girls. I'm going to
Yeah.
make sure that they have it. Build a bank, know what you're doing, leave a legacy, leave a business, something that they can start with and they don't have to stop. So that's the quick motion of that.
So okay, so this is I am so intrigued. This is brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so how can people go and get this book? They can go
You
on your website, or how can they go?
Right. If you go to my website, chontahaynes.com/books, you'll see all the books that are there. But I will offer this. I do have a free resource that they can go pick up. It
Okay.
says why your style of money management is keeping you broke. Better yet, how to fix it. Right.
Mm,
That quick, it's a quick 2-page read just so that you have an idea of what you can do now. If you go to my website, chontahaynes.com/, what's that one called? Free dash BFP. BFP
okay.
is biblical financial personalities. If you go there, you'll be able to get that free download. So that's my offer. And then you'll see anything else that I have that goes along with it. It'll talk about books later on, but I want your audience to really start it because, like I said to you before, if we as believers are broke, busted, and disgusted like the rest of the world, why would they want what we have? This is our
Exactly.
opportunity to not only witness to them, but be that example before them. That John 10:10 is in the Bible and it's there for everybody, as well as 3rd John 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers.
Yeah.
Get the information, transform, and watch the rest transform around you. So that's what I say to that one.
Y'all, the round table is on fire today, only because these are necessary conversations. And you and I, Dr. Haynes, we talked about this before we went live, that many people in the church, many leaders are not teaching this.
Mhm.
We're staying, how do you say it? We're staying on the outer skirts of
The
things.
peripheral.
The
Yeah.
peripheral, I love that. We're staying on the peripheral of things and we're not getting deep about subjects that matter, and financial stewardship is a subject that matters.
Exactly.
As you were talking, your framework literally reminded me of Robert Kiyosaki's
Mhm.
quadrant cash flow. His and as you were describing your framework, I saw like this entire box, but the box was divided into fours.
Mhm.
And on the left side is those two, type of individuals who may need a little bit of help, accountability, work, things
Mhm.
like that to make sure that they're not overspending and being frivolous with what God has given them. But then there's a line in the middle, and you go to the right side of that box, and the other two are the ice
Mhm.
type of personality, and then the individual who um, is preparing themselves for early retirement and
Mhm.
saving and things of that nature. I said all that to say, as you were sharing your framework, all I could see was that bold line going right down the middle and
Mhm.
splitting it up in that square into a half. And I saw the first two personality types that you spoke of, then the second set of personalities where we want to be.
Mhm.
How do we, what is that number one thing, would you say, that is going to be our tool, our key
Mhm.
to getting us over that line and to becoming one of the last two types that you just spoke about?
Well, it starts with understanding who you are
Mm,
and having that information that, hey, I revealed, I recognize this is what I do. This is why I do it. And that's what I say too. Know why you deal with money the way you deal with money.
mhm.
Some of it comes from your past, some of it's environmental structures that are there,
Yeah.
some of it's the people that you hang around with. I mean, if you're always going out to lunch and everybody's handing you the check, after a while, you're like, well, hold up.
Yep.
My people pleasing, what's going on? I become the steam personality. And a friend of mine, we would say March Madness, and it had nothing to do with basketball.
Yeah.
But in March, everybody comes out of the woodwork asking you to borrow money, with the guise of, okay, well, when I get my tax return, I can pay you back. And they never do.
Wow.
But they would come up with these crazy things. And so we would start calling it March Madness. And it was like, wait a minute, what is your plan for returning it?
Yeah.
We never loan anything that you expect to really get back. Okay.
Right.
Because if you do, you're going to be disappointed, and the resource of relationships you're going to not want.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So instead you say, can I afford it? That's the first decision. Can I afford to give this? And then, hey, do you have a plan? Because I don't want to be an enabler. I don't want you to become codependent on me. But it starts with me recognizing who I am, the positive side, taking that one step to remove the struggle from money management. And then I say also recognizing that you can be in all four quadrants. You can have a little bit of everybody, and
Mhm.
that's okay. But you find out what your dominant is, and then you correct that. You start with those habits that are going to get you out of it. That's why I say, hey, let me give you one tip.
Yeah.
Because, if I give you the litany of it, because in the book, it has strategies for all of that. And I will tell you, and I didn't mention that to you, in the book, not only do you understand your individual dominant personality, but it goes into couples. How do you deal with two steam
Ah,
personalities? How do you deal with when you are opposite of somebody? How do you then accentuate the positive and remove as much of the negative as possible?
mhm.
What's the best strategy for that? But then it also goes into entrepreneurs. Because if I'm a steam personality as an entrepreneur, I need somebody to take the money before I start giving the service. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I give away the store.
Yes. Yes.
And so it goes into all of our life. I've had the privilege of being able to share with a couple different churches, not a lot. I am really trying to get out there to make sure that they know that.
Okay.
When I started saying, hey, from a Christian university standpoint, hey, you're not teaching biblical finance, you brick wall. I'm like, okay, Lord, you assigned me to do this. You'll open the door when it's
Mhm.
the right time.
Mhm.
So if it's going through individuals, or if it's going through churches, or even organizations, whichever way it needs to happen, I'm open for it.
Mhm.
I like to say I stand in tippy toe anticipation of what's about to occur.
I love
So
that.
yes.
So, okay, so let's turn the dial just a bit.
Okay.
You teach that business is not just about profit, okay,
Mhm.
but that it is in fact about stewarding
Yeah.
your vision and your values. What does healthy stewardship look like in business?
Well, here's what I'm going to say. A lot of times we think business is just transactional.
Mm,
As long as we just, and it is transactional now.
yeah.
There is a transaction that is occurring, but that's not all. They're actually people that we are working with, that we're servicing. So when you say, hey, I just want to have the income, that's not the end all be all to everything.
Okay.
You want to have influence, you want to have impact and income.
I
You want to
agree.
make a difference and a dollar.
Hmm.
So not one or the other, but it's both. And so when we recognize the relational equity that's there, that is a great resource, we then start valuing people. We see them, we hear them, we appreciate them. When we're doing that, then I can give you my best exposure to who I am, and also bring out in you who you are.
Yes.
As a leader, that's one of my number one responsibilities, not just to give you information, but also revelation so that you can be transformed and you can walk. When
Yeah.
I talked about my story, going through all of those changes, that was major for me. But, in the midst of that, I didn't mention I lost a daughter 25 years ago.
Wow.
That was significant. Going through divorce, another grief situation. My mom passed away last year, another grief situation.
Yeah.
Empty nest, you got this void. When I stopped teaching theology because we weren't meeting in person with COVID, it was like, well, who am I? And many people put all of their identity in what they do and not who God has called them to be. So when I recognize that the people standing in front of me, or the people I have an opportunity to empower and impact, that they are God's children, that He has a great plan for them, that He wants something out of them. And I can then bring that out to say, I see you. I see the treasure in earthen vessel that you are. I see what you're able to do. That gives you more fulfillment and more joy than just getting $1 on the other end. Now we got to live. So let's not take advantage of folks and say, hey, I just want it all free. If it's free, it's for me. We used to have one elder that used to say that all the time. And he was like, and if I got to pay, I'll wait another day. No. People who pay attention.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. And there are those who have dealt with the hard knocks. They have gone through the time and the energy, and they have invested. I've invested heavily in coaching, and I've done an executive coach this year, and I have truly transformed and are rebranding because I realized all of what I brought to the table. Sometimes it takes someone outside of you to see. Yes, we can go to God. We can sit in His waiting room. We can ask Him, show me. And that's a hard prayer to pray because a lot of times we don't want to hear it.
Yes, it is.
But it's necessary. So if we're going to really put vision first, God, what have you decided for me to do? Jeremiah 29:11. What are those plans? You formed me in my mother's womb. I need to walk courageously into this. I need to be bold in what I do. You've called me to this. You've equipped me for it. Let me develop the skill sets that I need, the talents that I need to have. Let me do that. And when I do that and I'm going out now in the world, I need other people who are willing to invest in me and say, let me take you where you need to go. Let me mentor you to that next level. So not only do you have that income, but you also make the impact so that when you leave here, you really have then designed a destiny for others to follow later. You created legacy, not only wealth, but legacy, to say somebody else coming along, I have something to leave behind. And we all do. We all should.
We all
so
should.
That's what I got to say to that one.
I think this is, I love that you went in that direction, because what I thought about when you said, be intrigued with making an impact as well. I think about many people in business, including kingdom leaders who have started their own business, or they're running someone else's. The bottom line for a lot of business owners, or C-suite execs, the bottom line is that we want more attention, good attention. We want more eyes on our business and products. We want more profitability. We want more money, revenue coming in, right? The more revenue, the more eyes that we have on us, from a positive standpoint, the better. But many people don't realize that if you slow down enough to take the time to craft something and offer something that is not just going to go for someone's pocket, but that's going to go to for someone's heart, and go for someone's mind, and offer them truly, genuinely offer them something that's going to, I love how you put it, give them a revelation, and in turn walk them into transformation. You'll find that more people will flock to what you have.
You're right. It's about strategy.
Yeah.
And my executive coach is Dr. Cindy Trim, by the way.
I love her. I love her.
I absolutely am amazed. And we just had a graduation the other day, and she talked about the difference between most people playing chess. Most people playing checkers, and we need to be playing chess. So when you
Indeed.
say slow down to go faster, you're absolutely right. There's a strategy behind what you do.
Hmm.
And so we don't want to take it for granted. Visibility is important. If you're not visible, you won't have eyes on you, and people won't, you will be the best kept secret, and that's not going to be profitable. You will
Right.
be a hidden figure, and that's not going to be profitable. So you've got to come out of the shadows, be uncomfortable in that, but there's a strategy that's behind it. It
Hmm.
goes to your core values. All right. You don't want to be in partnership with someone who does not line up with your core values, or it's going to bring you down ultimately.
Right.
Because if they have a negative impact, you will too. So,
Hmm.
we as believers, as kingdom minded entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs, we have to protect what God has for you to do. You got to do the work for sanctification, you
Yes.
got to do the work on character.
Yes.
You got to recognize the rain or the metron in what you have to work with so that you make a difference in your circle of influence. And only that. And
Yes.
so that kind of also goes back to the so called experts. You know, if you don't have the credentials, you haven't gone through the crisis, then you're not in a position to help somebody solve that problem.
Indeed.
All right.
Yeah.
That's one side. But the other side is this: if you do have the solution, if you have gone through, if you are a true expert, somebody is waiting uncomfortably for you to show up.
Mm.
You have a responsibility to show up in their life and
Mm.
offer that. And it's too often we are playing small because we think that it's too big. But do what God has called you to do, be the person He's called you to be, and the right people will gravitate towards you. That's we go off on a tangent here. I'm
But
sorry.
no, it is indeed what I think the Lord wants us to speak about right now, because um, I think that's one of the biggest pain points in a lot of kingdom leaders' um, lives right now. A lot of people are frustrated in the church or from the church,
Mhm.
um, because they don't realize that if you just walk in authenticity, and if
Yes.
you just honestly and boldly show up and provide the service, the gift, the talent, the open door, whatever it is that God has shown you and revealed to you, if
Mhm.
you just show up and authentically and boldly present that same
Mhm.
thing to others, people will come out of the woodworks. And my wife says it all the time. She says, show up authentically,
Mhm.
and open your mouth, and He will fill it. That's scripture,
Mhm. It
right?
is.
God
Mhm.
will show up and He will do it every time. And so a lot of times, and we're supposed to look at the numbers, right? In
Mhm.
business and finance, we're supposed to do that, but not to the detriment of
Mhm.
the business, right? Or not to the detriment of the household, even.
Correct.
We're supposed to make sure that it's a great balance. And I love what you're saying here, because it's not just about the profitability, but it's also about the impact,
Yes.
right? It's all of the above that's going to ensure the success in what God is giving you stewardship and
Mhm.
dominion over.
Here's one thing that I will say. Everybody has probably been in a position where you felt like you were being pimped.
Yeah,
Somebody utilizing your gifts,
yeah,
not appreciating you, highlighting somebody else. You didn't like that feeling.
yeah,
Don't do it to somebody else.
absolutely,
Okay. If
absolutely.
you are in a room where you're the top person in every single room, it's time for you to find a new room.
Hmm.
Okay. But at the same time, that means that your gift, as the Bible says, your gift is going to make room for you.
Hmm.
When you authentically show up, and it's not about, yeah, I got all these degrees, but I'm being real with you. And I tell you, everything is not always rosy. There are moments where I'm like, really? You did that to me? I was leading, I created the curriculum, I was leading it, I was carrying this person, and you highlight them. I had
Yeah.
that moment earlier this year, and I said, wait a minute,
Wow.
it's time to make a different decision,
Wow.
because we do train people how to treat us. Christian does not mean doormat. It does not equal doormat. And you need
Yes.
to hear that. It does not. And just like Jesus says, don't take my meekness for weakness. It's not. You've got to know who you are. When you do that, then you start showing up authentically again. And you say, wait a minute. I know what God has called me to do. I know the gifts that he's given me, the spiritual gifts, the natural gifts, the talents, the skills, and I'm going to develop those. I'm developing them so that I can show up bolder. But it's not always I'm sitting in a suit and I'm looking great. You know, I've got to be vulnerable too and let
Yeah.
you know there are those moments where I wasn't quite sure, that I recognized there was transition. I needed to invest in me because there was something now lying dormant. Stop, you know, stop playing small. Too
Yeah.
many are waiting on you. And when, like your wife said, when you show up authentically, the others will be magnetically attracted to you. You won't have to work so hard. Yes,
Mm,
you need to be visible, but hey, if authenticity is going to trump the game, it's time for us to be real
yeah.
with our finances. Hey, my finances are messed up. Can you help me?
Absolutely.
Let's get it right. Oh, my business is not really working. Where do I need to go to find the strategies that I need? Let me
Absolutely.
find them. Let me not stay stuck, but let me still continue to move forward because there are too many people in our households, in our communities, and in the world that are waiting.
Yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree. You guys, we are talking right now to Dr. Chonta Haynes, and she is giving us the business right here at the Global Leaders Roundtable. I'm thoroughly enjoying this conversation. Um, we're going to make sure that we put all of her links and everything in the bottom of this video and in the description so that you guys can connect with her. I'm not even going to say you need to be with her. You need to connect with her. You clearly know, okay, that there's something that she has to offer you. So go ahead and make sure that you connect with her. Dr. Haynes, so many people, this is their story. They find themselves on the right path, but then they somehow, some way got off course.
Mhm,
Um, we we'll land it here. We said that we wanted to talk about adjusting your crown.
mhm.
What does that mean for the person who's gotten off course? How can leaders recognize when they have drifted away from their divine alignment, and what can they do to? I know that's a lot. So, what does it mean? How can they identify when they have drifted away, and then what can they do to get back on track?
Well, I started with the adjusting your crown probably about a year or so ago. And I have a lot of crowns behind me. I
Yeah.
will put on a crown in a minute. Okay. And just as physically, and I'm going to tell you again, transparent moment. I was doing one of my books and I was using a local printer. And that day I wasn't feeling enthusiastic or empowered about myself, just kind of like one of those moments. I
Right.
put on a tiara and I was like, okay, I'm just going to wear this. When I put it on, it then elevates how you perceive yourself.
Hmm.
And I went out and yeah, people were looking at me like, well, what's going on with her? No problem. But it was something I did. So I started saying we need to adjust our crowns. What it means to me is that we see ourselves through the eyes of the cross. You see who you really are. All right. When you
Hmm.
have drifted, in many instances, it's because you're not doing your spiritual disciplines. You're not praying. You're not talking to God. You're not asking him for the vision for you. You're not asking him for assistance. And sometimes the best prayer is, Lord, help. And that's all
Yeah.
you got to say. But when we're not doing those little things, we've drifted. Sometimes it's because of life's challenges. Life be lifing, as we say.
Hmm.
Okay. And so we're going through transition. In doing that, we need somebody on the outside, we mentioned, to say, hey, wait a minute. I need an accountability partner. I want to make sure that my witness is always going to stand. All of those things come into play. So there's a lot of ways of us seeing that we're drifting. I believe James talks about it. A double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. There's
Yes.
no reason for him to ask anything of the Lord because he's not going to get it. Believe what you believe. Adjust your count. Lord, who am I?
Mm.
How should I be seeing myself? in business, in finances, in relationships, in my home, with my kids. How should I show up in the world? I don't feel it. What do I need to do differently? Having that conversation, which is a two-way street, by the way, prayer,
Yeah.
saying, Lord, talk back to me. Let me sit in your waiting room.
Mm.
Who do I need to connect with so that I can then get back the joy? Because the joy of the Lord is my strength. What do I need to do differently? Because I find myself in a place where there's no fulfillment.
Yeah.
If I just have income, there's no fulfillment.
Right.
Right? If I only have the impact, there's no fulfillment because we're like,
Right.
hey, I'm struggling. So it's all of that comes together as we're talking, and I really love it. I did this Divinely Connected series to kind of, and it probably will still expand. It's got 3 books in it right now. One's on finance, Steps to Fearless Financial Freedom. That's the devotional planner that's just like the bite-sized pieces. There's one on prayer, praying through life struggles. And it is a different view of prayer. You know, we're looking at the Hall of Fame of prayer.
Right.
Hannah praying. We've got Daniel praying. We got all of those. I deal with those, but I take you into different rooms because that's the way that God showed it to me. It was, I love these divine downloads. I'm telling you,
I love it.
You just never know, but allow him to do that for you. The last one is Sister to Sister, and it's 365 days. It's the entire year of, hey, we're working through these struggles, different things, but it's a devotional that is like, and a planner. And the devotional says, let me take you to this other place.
Yeah.
Let me remind you of who God is. And sometimes it's just, hey, that revelation or realization that God is looking down. He's got a plan for me. He's got something for me to do. And I want to be about my Father's business.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do that. So I can come back into alignment by being divinely aligned with him. If I don't have that divine alignment in my business, I'm not going to meet where I want to go. I'm not going to feel the fulfillment that I'm supposed to have. I'm not going to do all of what I'm supposed to do in life. I say it all starts with that. But then there's a framework that I need to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a personal, customized framework for each one of us. So a lot of the frameworks that we see out in the world, they might not work. You had to tweak them for you. And so that's kind of what I would say on that.
I love that last part, even what you stated, that there are frameworks in the earth. And in other words, what we're saying to those who, if you just now been introduced to that term framework, there's a blueprint for you. Right? There's a blueprint that God has for each and every person. I'm a blueprint guy. I have, in one of my rooms, it's just nothing but blueprints. Right? I love it because God is a God of blueprints. I just believe that. And so what I took from that, Dr. Haynes, is that every person take the time to get in the presence of God and do something that is actually almost antithetical to what preachers and spiritual teachers teach us, which is get in the presence of God and ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Ask
the right questions.
Ask the right questions.
Yes.
So that God can speak back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know what to ask, say, Holy Spirit, show me what to ask.
Here's one I would say. Don't ask why.
Yeah.
Ask, what am I supposed to learn from this?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
The why question, you may not ever get an answer to.
Right.
Why did this happen? I mean, you can go to Job. Why did he pick Job? Well, he knew he could, but why? Job didn't ask why. What am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with this? How is this going to affect me?
Yeah.
You know, what, when, where, why, you know, all of those questions. Ask him. If he's not going to answer, he just won't answer. It's okay.
He'll just lead you. He'll just lead you.
Or lead you to someone else who can help you with that.
Yes. And you have to be open to that.
That's right.
You have to be open to that. One of my number one questions, and my team and wife, they laugh at me all the time. But I just adopted this question because I found that God really began to give me revelation and clarity. Whatever happens or whatever is brought to me, I say, okay, what does this mean?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What does this mean? What does this mean to me? What does this mean to you? What does this mean for us? What does this mean for the people that we serve? What does this mean? Give me the interpretation, the revelation, the understanding, the enlightenment, God, of what I'm supposed to initially get out of this, and then over time, what is supposed to be revealed to me for
Yes.
this.
Exactly. That's a great place to start for sure.
Yeah.
Because you're asking what, and you're asking the lesson, you're asking the future, you're asking those things, and he has the ability then to show you. But we
Hmm.
have to be willing to hear when he responds back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's excellent. I love it.
I love that. Dr. Haynes, this has been amazing. Oh my gosh. Wow. We've got to have you back. We've got to have you back if whenever your schedule permits.
All right, no problem. I mean, your spirit, I appreciate
Thank
your
you.
desire to make sure that others are getting the juiciness, I guess I would say, out
Hmm.
of every conversation. I
Yes.
think that's important. It's not about okay, well, hey, I got a script that I need to stay with. No, let God lead you. And when he leads, the right questions are going to be asked, the answers are going to come, people are going to be inspired, they're going to move forward. But my challenge, and this is my challenge that I would give to your audience,
Okay.
don't just listen,
Yes.
take action. Because, we can be so full sitting in church. We're like walking out like, we're just like obese. We're
Yeah.
doing nothing with it.
Yeah.
All right. And then you say, at one point, you'll get to the point where you say, I'm not getting anything. I'm not learning anymore. You can't take in anymore.
Yeah.
All right. So do something with this. I don't care if it's, hey, I need to get my finances together. I want to find out about that. Do it.
Hmm.
Oh, I need to find somebody that's going to assist me in my business. Do it. I need a leader or a mentor. Do it. Do something. Take one takeaway from every single time you listen to Global Leaders Roundtable podcast. One thing that you're going to do, write it down and take action. And
Mm.
you'll find that as the years go, if you keep doing that, you will be light years ahead of most people, because most people, all they're going to do is hear it. It's going to go in one ear, out the other,
All
and
right.
they're going to be the same. But everybody that's listening, I believe that God has something special for you to do. He knows it, and you know it too. So don't let it lay dormant. It's time to stand up, be like David, run toward Goliath, and let's throw that slingshot. Let's unleash your inner queen or your inner king, whatever it is, adjust your crown and move forward. That's
Mm.
what I would say.
Wow. Dr. Chonta Haynes, everybody. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. I want you to hang tight in the virtual green room. I'm
Yeah.
gonna wrap things up and then we'll move forward from there. Guys, this has been super amazing. I need you to make sure that you go over into the description area right now underneath this video and that you connect with Dr. Haynes right now. She is literally, I'm saying this because I truly feel this by the Spirit of God. She is literally walking people into financial freedom, but not just financial freedom. She's literally walking people right into their destiny, right into their destiny. And if you need that accountability partner or leader, you need someone to actually help you put things, in her words, put things into action, right? Not just stopping at the point or the level of talking about it, but actually putting things in place, putting an action plan together and actually walking it out. You need to connect today to Dr. Chonta Haynes. I love what we've gone over. She has poured out such powerful truths today. Um, you've got to be reminded that kingdom wealth is well beyond just money, right? I love how she said it. We need money. Those are things that we need, of course, to be able to live. But wealth is more inclusive of way more than just the tool of money. It's the impact. It's the influence. It's all of the things that God will give you access to in order to make a difference in this world. And it is also indicative of stewardship, how well you are stewarding those things that God has placed in your hand and within your dominion. So when we adjust our crowns, guys, we realign with our authority and our identity in God, and that thing that God gave us from the very beginning. So make sure you are adjusting your crown today. You're asking the right questions so that you can get the right revelation and in turn walk into the right transformation that God has for you. Again, I am so thankful that you took the time to take a listen and to view the Global Leaders Roundtable. If you are loving what you're hearing, make sure that you stay a part of this ecosystem. It is built on authenticity, but most of all, it is built on kingdom principles that I believe is going to transform your life. All right. I am your host, Kenyon R. Dudley. And until next time, lead boldly and live well.